That I'll sue and I won't tell you why. I deceive and I lie. I deceive and I lie. There's no need to know why. I deceive and I lie. I'm a weaselly guy. I'm a weaselly guy. Da-na-na. That I'll sue and I won't tell you why. I'll deceive and I lie. I deceive and I lie. Ha ha ha. Gary. Oh, Gary. We're coming right after you, Gary. And I have to give a big thanks for that animation from notfinancialadvice.crypto. He not only made the outros that I use at the end of all of my videos, but he made that hilarious graphic of exactly how Gary, Hinman, and Clayton have acted throughout the years. Oh, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And man, do I have this aggressively average content for you today, as we have so much to discuss. First and foremost, we have this bombshell where Ripple is stating that the SEC suffered a major setback in this XRP lawsuit. This is so important as the judge's decision looms, and Ripple is posturing and looking to be in a position of power heading into this major decision. Now guys, what exactly happened that made the SEC suffer a setback? When we look at this article from the XRP Daily, it states in a recent quarterly report, Ripple stated the SEC suffered a setback. According to Ripple, the SEC failed to convince the court to provide it with internal documents from Ripple. The documents in question are reportedly related to Ripple's legal advice on whether XRP is a security or not. And Ripple claims that the documents would show that the company acted in good faith and did not intend to violate securities laws. Ripple has always been the good actor here. That's why people from the Fed, the Treasury, the entire planet are willing to join their team and also partner with them. The SEC is the corrupt rogue actor here. And that's going to be proven to be correct. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue and we look at the macro, we have to remember what's going on with these banking failures. 3 of the 4 largest bank failures have happened over the past couple weeks. Signature Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, and now First Republic have all happened within 2 months. The Federal Reserve has stated it failed in the run-up to Silicon Valley Bank's collapse. And here, I want you to listen to these 2 clips, one from Coach Dave V talking about the FDIC and First Republic, and then the Black Swan capitalist twins, accompanied with Lynette Zhang, discussing that as well. What we're witnessing right now in real time is the government takeover of the financial system. And I can't stress this enough. We're close to a monopoly when it comes to the banking system. And it's going to be heading into the point where as the power gets more and more centralized, XRP will be the only decentralized mechanism to make sure things work properly.
All right, guys, in my last video, I misspoken. Here we are, FDIC on Fridays. The FDIC always does bail-ins. They shared with us, well, FDIC prepares First Republic Bank. Silicon Valley Bank was the first. Now First Republic Bank is being taken over by the FTC. So it's a bail-in, not a bailout. A bail-in is a bailout is an equity injection. A bail-in is when they take the debt, turn it into equity, and put it on the open marketplace for sale. So it looks like FDIC prepares to place First Republican Bank under receivership. So this is bank number 2 to go insolvent. The collapse is here, guys. Get ready.
Just as what I saw in 2008.
But this is
Absolutely
worse.
outrageous.
This
It
is
is
probably
worse.
getting worse. Yeah. And
Oh, it's going to be worse than 2008 for sure.
I definitely agree with you. I know we got Sesame Street running the country at the moment. But back to that FDIC thing that you were just touching on real quick. Sometimes I get into conversations with people out and about, oh, I'm FDIC, I got the sticker on the bank. It's Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. I'm okay. I got up to 250 grand that would be taken care of if God forbid something happens. And I try to explain exactly what you just touched on a moment ago. But I try to tell them that's like having some vehicle and you got full coverage insurance. And when you need it, the insurance company says, sorry, can't help you out.
Right.
That's the same concept. I mean, basically, right?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think you all understand just how important all of this is. I don't think a lot of people understand how critical the moment we're in is. We are pivoting away from the old system into the new one. They're bringing in crisis after crisis to bring on a solution they want in order to solve it. You see, this is the thing. If you guys would have been here for 5 years now, looking at interviews, documents, and information constantly posted on this channel and others in the XRP community, you'd know all of this is scripted. I've literally shown you the FDIC videos of them talking about how on a Friday they were going to do bail-ins. Boom, it happens. And now it happens again in just another month. Unbelievable. And guess what? It's not gonna stop. Jim Cramer is calling for the end of bank failures. That means there's gonna be so many more, likely just a week from now. But what's important is not to panic, not to be reactive, but proactively understand the predictive programming so that you're ready. Know that they're trying to manipulate you. And instead of getting manipulated, instead of getting emotional to their plans, understand what's going to come so you already have your chess pieces in place to benefit from it. That's what I try and teach on this channel every single day. Here, Anders Lundberg shows all of you that Bob Way, one of Ripple's original employees, told us why ISO 20022 migration for cross-border payments was such a big deal for Ripple. Read this very carefully, as plenty of people tried to understate how important ISO was. Bob Way stated ISO is way bigger than you might think at first. It replaces the previous Swift standards MT and MX and adds a lot of other things. The reason ISO 20022 transition is extremely helpful to Ripple's bank sales team is this means that every bank is required to implement new technology. Banks hate to change an already working process. Change can now introduce new problems, which means bankers get fired. This is the new #1 reason most bank integrations don't happen. New system development is expensive and risky. Mistakes can generate bank losses or fines. Bankers get fired. The person you're negotiating with must have 1. Product budget, 2. Development budget, 3. An appetite for risk. But with a mandatory ISO 2002 change that already happened and is going to continue to get rolled out, the person you are negotiating with only needs to have 1. A product budget. Money for development has already been allocated elsewhere. Nobody gets fired for following a mandate. That makes the sale a much easier lift for Ripple. That being said, bank software sales is still a hard process, especially with the SEC lawsuit still adding FUD to the process. But even if banks wait for a settlement, their ISO 20022 upgraded system become much easier for Ripple to integrate with. The biggest impact is going to be that even smaller banks are going to be upgrading their systems, and that creates a much bigger pool of on-demand liquidity compatible banks. Smaller banks get the most benefit from ODL. It lets them cut the larger correspondent banks out of their flow and costs. And this is what's so important, you all need to notice. The smaller banks on the planet right now that could benefit most from on-demand liquidity are the ones that are failing, especially in the States. And in my opinion, XRP needs to be a solution to a multi-trillion-dollar problem. It's going to take time, but steps have already been made to help. No other crypto and no other crypto company has positioned themselves like Ripple and XRP has to be able to help with this specific problem. And you best believe when a solution is needed and the crisis is afoot, they're going to be, oh, here liquidity. Where's that on-demand liquidity? Oh, XRP, there you are. Oh, that little lawsuit is over with. Oh, so nice. Thank God. Because the world needs XRP more than XRP needs the world. Now, guys, as you understand the importance of the upgrades to ISO 20022, Mr. Mann posted that SWIFT has also confirmed via the SEC that Canada and the US will be implementing a Big Bang approach when upgrading to T+2 on May 28, 2024. All of these things happening in a coordinated manner to improve the financial system in every way, shape, and form will lead to the inevitable digitalization and interoperability of the entire financial system. XRP's on-demand liquidity was built for this crisis. XRP's on-demand liquidity as the secret sauce, the upgrade of all upgrades. And if you didn't know that by now, you're just not getting it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to cap off this video for today, I want you to listen to this clip and salivate knowing you've always held the correct answer. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
India made the move. They began last year in a slightly different manner to the way that North America is planning to move. They're going more of a big bang approach.
Yeah.
So India moved starting in February, I believe it was, and they started with the lowest capitalized stocks, and groups of about 100 or 500. And the final grouping of the stocks moved in February this year. So they sort of had a very different approach. It was slightly more operationally complex because they had different stock markets that had to coordinate with each other. So and the way that you sort of picked which stocks were higher capitalized was not the easiest thing to do. So it was an interesting approach. So certainly. I'm not sure that North America would consider that approach. I don't think they ever did. I don't know whether Europe might, though. It'll be interesting to see if we go through a process here and look at it in the future. But we have a date now, as you saw from my meme. 28th of May 2024 is when the SEC has announced the US and Canada are moving. Now, that was a slightly controversial date. Not only is the date not a bank holiday in Canada, which is going to cause the neighbours of the US a little bit more of a headache than they wanted, but the timeline's also challenging for everyone around the world, and it's quite soon. So
just under a year, yes. Exactly. Well, just over a year, rather.
Just over a year, yeah, a year and a bit, which is really quick when you think about all the work that needs to go into it, which we'll get onto in a second, I believe. And not to mention the current economic environment. I want to put that in there because that's another problem. We've seen downsizing and operations teams are bare bones at the moment. So you have to divide your time between business as usual support and mandatory changes such as this. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah, certainly. I would say, I guess, at least with that date, we have seen a move away from January the 1st, which is never a great date to impose a new change. So that's one positives. And with the India point, we did what we saw across the SWIFT network. We did see the overall settlement efficiencies stayed the same, and then it was a bit of a bump with those last couple of weeks as they put on the majority of those. It went over 10% at one point, but has now flattened down. So to your point, I guess pros and cons on different approaches, whether it's a big bang, a phase.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at SWIFT, former SWIFT board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.